Hey there, welcome to another edition of Ask Ron. And the theme today is don't ask Ron or anyone else for advice. If you're paying a coach, you need to listen to your coach and do what your coach says. This is a phenomenon that I've been seeing, since the coaching industry became such a huge thing, probably over the last 5 to 7 years, I'd say, is when it's really bloomed. Everyone's a coach. Everyone who competes feels like they need a coach. And, I coach people. I do online coaching. I do a little bit of prep. Don't have a lot of time, so I only take a couple people on at once. I can't work with 10, 20 people or more, at the present time. But one thing I've noticed in general is that a lot of people will hire a coach, and whether it's just for their own, off-season gains, not competing, or they might actually be in prep mode. Most of the time, they're hiring somebody to prepare them for a contest, which is great. I think it's good to have someone you're accountable to, especially if you're a little newer to the game. They can put you on a structured diet, oversee your workouts, cardio, take a look at you, because it's very hard, especially for people who haven't competed much, to know what they're supposed to do, what they should be doing at what point in the prep, how they should be looking. A coach can be a great thing, absolutely. I'm not putting coaches down because I have coached, I do coach. I'm not putting coaches down for a minute. But what I see happen so often is that people will have a coach and they will have doubts and insecurities about what this coach is telling them. So they will go on message boards. They will ask anyone they know. They'll put it up. They'll make posts on Facebook, seeking out more feedback, more information. My coach says I should be doing this or that. What do you guys think? Or, they'll direct it at me or whatever. And I always say, I can give you my opinion on what I think about this, but you have a coach. You shouldn't have hired that person unless you had faith in them, unless you believed that this person had the knowledge and the expertise to guide you to where you wanted to go, to help you get the results that you're looking to get. If you didn't believe that in the first place, you should not have hired this person. You should not have agreed to work with them and given them your money. You see it so many times, and especially at the last few weeks of prep, because that's when most people really start to second guess themselves. Even if they have a coach, they start second guessing their coaches. Now, that being said, there are some bad coaches out there. I've heard from people that told me, or they asked me my opinion. What do you think about this? Because my coach says, they want me to, the show's on a Saturday, they want me to start taking, water pills. It'll either be over-the-counter diuretics or actual pharmaceutical-grade diuretics as early as Monday in that week, which is insane. There is no reason that I'm aware of that anybody would need to start dropping their water unless they have some crazy medical condition, some severe edema. They're holding vast amounts of water under the skin, subdermally. Otherwise, there's no reason to start manipulating water until 48 hours out at the most. It's a delicate balance. The point is that, I could say to someone, I wouldn't do that personally if I was your coach, but I'm not your coach. So-and-so is your coach. You need to listen to that person, because if you don't listen to them, if you don't do what they're telling you to do, you'll never know if they were an effective coach or not, because you weren't doing what they told you to do anyway. So what was the point in hiring them? I saw a video from Chris Bumstead where, I don't know if Ian Valier, his soon-to-be brother-in-law to be, or Chris put it out, but they use the term asshole instead of asshole, which I think is pretty good. I've heard it before, but it's a good way to describe someone who they're never certain, they're never comfortable with any information. They always feel like, well, that might not be right. There might be some other opinions, and it's great to seek out other opinions, but especially if you're prepping for a contest, you can't solicit opinions and feedback and ideas from 40 different people, because they're, in all likelihood, they're going to tell you 40 different things. You can't use 40 different strategies at once, especially in the week before a contest. And that's when people really start freaking out, usually is the last week or two, because, there's this mistaken belief that even if you look like dog shit, you can do some kind of crazy manipulations with carbs and water and, let's be real here, insulin and all this, that's going to turn you into some schmuck who couldn't place fifth in a novice class at a local show to top 5 at the Olympia. There are people who are that delusional. that they think some crazy manipulations. They'll say, wait till I drop my water. And usually there's fat. It's not water, it's fat. You're not going to drop 20 pounds of fat that you should have dropped over a 16-week prep with 2 days of carbing up and some insulin and a diuretic. You'll probably look a little better, maybe, but you're not going to look dramatically better. You're not going to look like a different person, which is what you're after. But getting back to the point, this is why it's a pet peeve of mine. For many, many, many years, probably, well over 15 years, probably more like 20, I was very, very generous with my time and knowledge. And when people would ask me for help, I would help them. They'd say, can you write me up a workout? And I'd be like, sure. I'd write them up a whole workout program, the exercises, the sets, the reps, the split, all that. Can you write me up a diet? Sure. You seem like a good dude. And a lot of times these were complete strangers. I'm not tooting my own horn like a Mother Teresa. I'm not that selfless. But I always felt a certain sense of duty and responsibility that because I was someone who had some knowledge and experience that I should pass that on. And I still feel that way. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy passing on my knowledge because I feel like if you have this knowledge and you don't pass it on, it's worthless. But at the same time, once this coaching thing started becoming such a booming industry, I started to say to myself, why am I giving this all away for free when other people are charging for it? So I started charging for online coaching, for things like that. And 9 times out of 10, people would hit me up, and once I would answer a few questions, always no problem. A couple easy questions, opinions, this or that. Again, once I could see they needed detailed, works, they needed someone to work with them for a while, like on a one-on-one basis, someone to really look at them on a regular basis, either in person or pictures, or they needed a lot of guidance. They needed a structured program. I say, you know what? I do this. I can work with you. I can get you on a program, supplements, nutrition, training. This is what I charge. And trust me, I have never charged a lot of money. I probably don't put as much of a value on myself as I should because I see people who are half my age with 1/10 of my knowledge and experience charging more than I do. So I know I'm not charging a lot of money. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, once I gave them that information that I can do this for you, but this is what I'm going to charge. I don't have the time to sit here and write up workouts and switch up your diet every couple weeks and tell you this. Working with you as a coach in that capacity, I have to charge you. I have to. My time is valuable. I'm a busy guy. I'm writing all the features for MD, a lot of the departments. I'm the online editor now. I got a lot of video content. I'm a busy guy. Like a lot of you watching this, you're as busy as me, if not busier. So you know what I mean. Your time is money. Time is valuable. So that would be the end of it. I would never hear from them again, or they'd give me the standard, I'll let you know, and I'd still never hear from them. What irked me is that a lot of times they would contact me later. These same people who I offered to coach, they would say, can you do me a favor? And they'd send over a workout or a diet. They'd say, this is the coach, or this is the diet my coach has me on. What do you think? Or this is the workout program. What do you think? They'd want me to evaluate it and hopefully give them some changes on it, make adjustments to it. And I'd say, you know what? I offered to coach you. You didn't want to work with me, which is fine. You're under no one's under any obligation. But then you come back to me after you've paid somebody. You're paying somebody, but now you realize or you have doubts about that person, and in your head, in your mind, you're thinking this Ron Harris guy is probably more knowledgeable and experienced than them. I want his take on this. So you're giving me, you're putting it on me now to help you make adjustments to what this less experienced and knowledgeable person has you doing. So I hope you can understand why I'd be a little offended by that, And I've never come at anybody, you bastard, you son of a bitch, I offered to coach you and you didn't want to. In a very respectful way, I always say, this is what your coach wants you to do it. See how it works. If for any reason you're ever unhappy with this coach and you decide you want to work with me, you know where to find me. Sometimes they do come back and they say, yeah, you know what, that person, it wasn't working out. I think they were giving me a cookie cutter diet that they give everybody, which is very, very common, people. A lot of these coaches, everyone gets the same workout, everyone gets the same diet. It's copy and paste. They're not doing anything customized for you. When I do things for people, it's always customized. I need to know their weak points, I need to know what injuries, what exercises they can and can't do, what they can and can't go heavy on, foods they might be allergic to or don't respond. I have a whole battery of questions that I ask people before I start writing up a program. I want to know exactly what's going on with them, what they've done. Anyway, I'm just saying I customize because I would feel wrong if I just sent out some generic ass program to everybody and charged them $200, $300, $400, $500 for it. I'd feel like an asshole, and I don't like feeling like that. I like to think I'm a nice, responsible person with integrity, so I don't do that. So when people come to me, and it's worse when they've come to me before and I've offered to coach them, and they didn't want to, or they didn't want to pay me to coach them for whatever reason. And, I have my theories. I think it's because I've been around so long, and I have given away so much free information. I had a daily blog on my website that's I no longer own, ronharrismuscle.com. I gave it up, and now it's some Filipino. It's in Tagalog, and I think they're selling steroids or something. Anyway, that's not me, just so you know, everybody. That's somewhere in the Philippines. They bought my domain name, which is cool. I don't give a shit. They come to me if they have a coach and they've never come to me before, that's one thing. But if it's somebody that I've been in touch with before and offered to work with, and they chose not to, and they chose to work with somebody else, but now they're paying somebody, but coming to me to give them free advice because the advice they paid for, they don't think is good. Yeah, it's just not cool, guys. So in situations like that, I'd say if you're going to hire a coach, do a little bit of research on this person, see what their track record is, try to get contacts ask them for at least 2 people that they've worked with, just like, if you're a job application, you got to have recommendations. You got to have people there to look up and call and say, this person put you down, said you were a past employee. So you want to talk to a couple clients. What was your experience like with this guy or girl? Did you feel like they paid enough attention to you? Did you get good results? Were you happy with them? That's it. I mean, anybody who's worth their salt as a coach, they would have no problem with that because they should have their clients should be happy with them and be willing to give them sparkling reviews, right? 5 stars on Yelp. And, if testimonials are one thing on a website, but I'd want to actually have some contact, Facebook message them or email them, something where you're getting a little bit of personal feedback from a client because you're giving this person money and you're trusting them with your money and your time and your body. Especially when we're talking about, if drugs are part of the equation, if they're going to be telling you which drugs to take, when and what doses and stuff, you want to make sure this person knows what the hell they're doing to an extent. Obviously, none of these people doing it are medical doctors. They really shouldn't be giving any quote-unquote medical advice, which technically telling someone how to use drugs, that's considered medical advice, practicing medicine without a license. But still, you would want at least somebody who's got a track record of working with a lot of enhanced athletes that have gotten good results and, haven't had any major health problems with their clients. If somebody's had like five clients that needed like kidney dialysis or, then you might have understandable reservations about this person. But that's it. If you're going to hire somebody, look into them, be comfortable with them, and then do what they tell you, at least for the time that you've paid them to work with them. And if you're not happy with them after that, part ways. Say, you know what, I'm going to try something different, or it's been nice, but I think I'm going to do my own thing or try something else. You don't really owe them an explanation anyway. If you've gotten friendly with them, it can be difficult because then you might feel like you're obligated to keep working with that person regardless. You're never obligated to work with a coach beyond the first, initial period that you signed on for. After that, if you're not happy, well, you'd be a moron to keep. That's like, that's like going to a massage therapist or something, just a crappy little analogy. Gives you terrible massages, but you keep going back to them. Why? Why would you do that? You wouldn't, right? I mean, I've gone through so many massage therapists, just as a side note. I've probably gone through 20 of them over the years, at least. And some of them have been great, some of them have been shitty. And the shitty ones, I never saw them again. It's probably more than 20, now that I think about it. So anyway, if you have a coach, listen to your coach. Don't be asking everybody else. Don't be soliciting feedback and opinions from 1,000 random ass people online about what your coach is telling you to do, if you're going to do that, there's no point in hiring a coach. The point in hiring a coach is having someone who you can trust and have faith in, that has the knowledge, the expertise, the experience to guide you to reach your goals, whatever those may be. Add muscle, lose fat, whatever you're trying to do. This person is the person that you entrusted to help you do that. So don't go bothering other people. That's all. Other thing I want to talk about is isolation exercises. Should they not be considered? Are there exercises that are strictly mass building, and are there others that are strictly for shaping and toning and cutting? No, there are not. All resistance exercises work a muscle against resistance. They all do, you can only do three things to a muscle. You can make a muscle bigger, you can maintain the size of a muscle, or you can make a muscle smaller. Those are only three things that can happen with a muscle. You can't change the shape of a muscle. You can't cut up a muscle. Muscle is tissue. You can take away the fat that covers that muscle and make it you'll be able to see all the details and striations and splits, all the intricate details of that muscle that you would see if you peeled your skin and your body fat off and spray painted it flesh tone. That would be like the perfect contest physique. Some people have come pretty close to that, like Andreas Munzer, Hamdullah Aykutlug. A few other people have been that shredded. But to say that some exercises are specifically, you consider them mass builders and others not so much, it's silly. All exercises contribute toward mass building. Now, that being said, put it in perspective, the exercises that are going to have more value, more bang for the buck in that aspect are going to be the compound movements. So if you're taking chest, for example, obviously, I wouldn't say that a pec deck or a cable crossover or a dumbbell fly is going to be as valuable toward building mass as a bench press, an incline barbell press, the same movements with dumbbells, flat, incline, weighted dips. Those are all heavier movements. You can, theoretically bench press, incline press hundreds of pounds, 200, 300, 400 pounds or more. You're not going to do that with cable. You're not going to be doing 200-pound dumbbell flies. I've never seen it done. And I wouldn't advise anybody out there trying that. Believe me, you're going to rip a pec or dislocate a shoulder, rip out your rotator cuff. So those exercises aren't meant to be as heavy, but that doesn't mean you can't work them as heavily as possible. I've always treated things like the cable crosser, or more so pec flies. I've always treated pec flies as a mass builder, always. And I've never been an awesome presser. Flat bench press, never good at it. Incline bar, never really did more than a good set of 10 or 12 with 315, which is not that great. There's a lot of you out there have done more than that. Dumbbells, 150 is the heaviest I ever went on flat or incline. So nothing special when there's plenty of people out there that have gone heavier. But I always treated the pec deck or the pec fly, which is, pec deck is where your arms are like, I can't even do it because my arms don't rotate. Anyway, the pec deck, a pec fly is the one that's like this. It's the one you can turn around and use for rear delts. I've always gone as heavy as possible as that, so I'm very strong on that one. There's very few machines I can't use at least the stack on, if not the stack plus a 45 or maybe even another 245s pinned to it. And because the chest has two major functions, which is extending the arms out in front of you and adducting the arms, or bringing them toward the center of the body, you need to train both functions for full development of the chest. So you need to do your presses, and I always believe you need to do at least two angles. So do your flat, do your incline presses, and then you also need to do a fly motion. And don't treat the fly motion just as a throwaway exercise that you're doing for, shaping or cutting. Because like I said, you're not going to shape or cut the pecs with that exercise. You're going to contribute toward mass, but in a different way, from a different direction. Not quite as heavy, as I said, but that doesn't mean. I do believe you would have better chest development if you go heavy on that than if you just treated it as, I'm going to do 15 reps and get a pump and walk away from it. No. Go heavy. I go as heavy as, I'll make sure I'm properly warmed up, but I'll go as heavy as like 8 reps on something like that. I've done that many, many times over the years. Leg extension, same thing. I wouldn't recommend going super heavy on leg extensions because you'll destroy your patella tendon over time doing that. But it's not something to just, get a little blood in the muscle and pump. You can use it to warm up, and a lot of bodybuilders do use the leg extension twice in the workout. They'll use in the very beginning for real high reps just to get some blood in the area and get a little pump going. And then later they'll come back to it and go heavier and treat it more as a mass building exercise. But everything is a mass building exercise. Everything. There's nothing that's just a shaping or a toning or a cutting movement. That's preposterous. That doesn't mean you can go heavy on everything, because some exercises aren't meant to be. Like I just said, leg extensions, you don't want to go. I used to be pinning plates to leg extension machines and going 8-10 reps with, it doesn't matter what weight I say because all these machines are different. But it was a lot of weight. It's something very few people could do because for some reason I'm really strong in a couple weird exercises that nobody gives a shit about anyway, so it's no point in talking about it. But things like that, things like dumbbell laterals, you wouldn't want to go super heavy because your form is going to go to shit after a certain point. I've never seen anybody use decent form with anything more than 50s or 60s, even really big, strong guys. So I know there are people out there that do like 80s, 90s, 100s. Their form sucks. They're just throwing the dumbbells. And, if it works for them, that's great. But I'd rather see someone get some real good form and try to catch the movement at the top, control the negative. But still, even if you're doing it that way, as long as the form is good, go as heavy as you can while maintaining form. Don't treat these isolation exercises, these single joint movements, as something that's not going to contribute toward your overall mass over time. It is going to. And if you just waste, if you throw it away and don't think of them that way, you're missing out. That's really it, because this all came about because I posted a little clip on Instagram doing cable crossovers where I talked about how they can be a mass builder. And I got some comments from people saying, well, what's wrong with you, Harris? You know better than that. You got a bench press. I'm like, yeah, I know you got a bench press, dipshit. Come on. I've been training for 35 years. I know. It's like when if I post a video of, hack squats or leg presses, people say, you got to squat. Really? How old are you? Because I was squatting 405 for 10, 15 reps before you were born. So don't tell me I got to squat. I know all about squats. Sorry, I'm cranky. I'm a cranky old man. I'll be 49 next month. So that's it. This was just a short one. I wanted to get that thing about the coaches off my chest because it just came up again fairly recently where someone hit me up to go over there, to look over their program that another coach gave them, that they paid this other coach for, and I had offered to do something for, I guarantee, the same money, maybe even less money, but they chose not to do that. They chose to pay somebody else and then come back to me wanting me to revamp the program that they paid for. Yeah, I'm a nice guy, but I do have my limits, and that's all. So, hope you enjoyed this one. Talk to you guys later. As always, thanks for watching. Next time I'll get to some real questions.